Alright guys, what's going on? I wanted to do a video of DPW because I thought it was a really good stock. Actually DPW and XTNT. Really briefly, I'm going to do it 7 minutes each. And I'm going to go over how to short stocks up on essentially no news using technical analysis, using fundamental analysis, using price action, and just combining it all together to get a confident, sure trade. This is talking about the short side. So I'm going to go over DPW first. Known fader, known junk company. It's been up on EV. Sector news, as you can see, squeezed up on the news. So, well, first of all, I have the first news here. Ran a little bit with the SPI sympathy. Last few days, had another PR here, which squeezed over. You can see each time it just goes one peak higher. Very obvious today. It was just repeating the same old thing. So I knew it was definitely going over 2.3, shoved up 2.8 right away. And so I was like, okay, like where is my resistance point? So draw a line. It's very, very simple right here. This is where, so I had about 5 seconds, maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes to decide where to short the stock. And so I drew a line right here. I was like, okay, there's some resistance here around VWAP around 310, and that's my area of interest because I don't think it's going up here, whatever. I think it's going lower than here, so relative to here. So you can see the line, ding, ding. And so if you actually draw a trend line, this is literally rocket science. So it's not, perfect, but I was like, okay, maybe somewhere around there, 310, squeeze it out. And so, that's exactly what happened. It went up to 280s. I waited three, and there, right there, 310s was area of interest. Pop failed, and immediately 280s was heavy and came back down. So that was your opportunity for entry, for ads, 280s, and then was time to wait for 7 a.m. 7 a.m. shuffle came, and I'm just going to zoom in real quick. So here's 7 a.m. And I have a theory that, not a theory, just from seeing things happen over and over and over, pattern recognition, is that when a stock pushes up immediately before, within 5 minutes of 7 a.m., it's probably going to fail, and that's exactly what happened. Typically, if a stock traps and builds into 7 a.m. or delays until after 7 a.m., it will be a long, squeezing out the shorts. But typically, when it squeezes up into and opens 7 a.m., rip, then it's probably going to just crash. That's exactly what happened. You could have either shorted the stock right here, literally predicting this drop, risking a 3 push, or you could have just waited and once it confirmed, added 280s and then added below VWAP break, risking the reclaim. So the price action was heavy. There was no buying at all. Easily add versus VWAP on all these pre-market trades and covering on the washes. There's literally nothing complicated about this whatsoever. There was no bids, there was no buying, nothing, all the way down and opened at 217 for an entire dollar, almost 50% fade. So super crazy opportunity. Open, typical pop into VWAP, perfect opportunity. Cover the washes into VWAP, cover the washes into VWAP, cover the washes. You're hoping at this point it goes over VWAP. This is exciting, right? Because, I mean, like what else, right? So this was exciting. This was an add. I wish it had gone 250s, but didn't, so whatever. And then continue to cover. So at this point here, 2.0s was my target. So went to 2.10s, was trying to be really patient, and finally hit target of 2.0s, all covered. And it was pretty much perfect because that was the bottom of the chart. At 2.0s, people started to cover, and the longs pushed it up, shorts into Friday, because it was Friday, pushed up right into VWAP, re-shorted VWAP, and once you know it, there was at the market offering, crash down sub ones, and you'll probably see this chart crack these ones maybe with the at the market and start to fade back to where it belongs. Maybe not. Maybe they'll squeeze it out with some more EV pump news. I don't know. We can only hope this will happen again. But this is the simplest trade, understanding the news, rehash EV sector, known fader, thicker flow. Price action was selling only, nothing else. There's nothing whatsoever complicated with this trade at all. XTNT was a little bit of a different story. Came up after hours, did a little what do, and this is wrong day. Here's the after hours. So shot up after hours, went to 140s, did this kind of down here and just failed. I looked at this and it was up like 30%, and I was like, I'm not really that interested. It's just not worth my time. So I said, okay, if it breaches 1.5, I set a price alert for 1.5, then I'll look at it the next day. I said basically if it goes over the pre-market high, then I will look at it. I will consider taking a trade as an edge. And which good thing I didn't get involved down here, because went over 1.5. I'm surprised I wasn't looking at it, because this was a perfect long 7 a.m. Contrary to DPW we just looked at, you can see it faded down into 7 a.m. A perfect risk off of the higher low. The dip here, everybody got excited for the short, proven, and as you can see, a perfect 7 a.m. Dip. And not only, well, here's a retrap right here. So they just gave a little perk and then a dip, and then everybody shorted in here. And then they just ramped it right up. People would have shorted here, and basically said, oh crap here. So I thought 150s break was the mental target, so I put in a small short 150s. You can review my chart in the journal. And then after 150, I wasn't interested in trying to find the top. So I basically was like, okay, where is a reasonable peak? So same thing as DPW. You open your chart and you say, okay, what's going on? What is happening? And this is how I personally use DAS, how I use the charts from the last prior runner. I open a 30-minute, 15-minute, 60-minute chart. I look at the last high volume run, and I look at VWAP, and I say, okay, right here where it crests the major point of VWAP, and as well as typically, around where it opens, that is my area of interest for resistance. So I looked at that and I said, okay, here's my line, 210 or 211, or I think I said 210s. 210s is my area of resistance. So as it went up into the first peak here, I started short at 208 and 209. I had orders in, expecting or hoping for 210s, maybe 220. I was willing to risk that range, 220 over and under. But it seems like 208, 209 was the top, so it was only a tiny size. Went down to 160, sub VWAP, and 50-cent move. Felt like the edge was gone, so covered it. The reason I covered it is because I didn't think that it had reached the area of interest fully. And because of that, and because it was up so much, there had already been so much manipulation, I figured there would be more shenanigans and fireworks, and that's exactly what happened. And so, as you can see, in hindsight, maybe it's hindsight, like this could have been a nice long here, but risking higher lows, but sure, whatever. Came up, just like I said in chat, thought it would break this level to 210s. Where are we at here? Didn't short. I think I maybe shorted a little bit here. I definitely shorted here because this is time frame matters as well, guys. So this is like 8:50 a.m. And I said in chat, I was like, no, they need to squeeze this out between like 9:15 a.m. and 9:30, 9:45 a.m. because that's when people are scared. It's going to open, and that's when it matters. That's when there's hauls. That's when whatever happens. So this just seemed premature, 8:50. So I actually shorted literally 190 up here. So preempted, like saying like this wouldn't break, this would fail. Started 190s, added over 2. And wasn't fully confident, but it was literally a thesis based on time frame, and I was correct. And started to fade it down perfectly. But then it was 9, then it happened, right? Exactly what I thought. So I covered, and it did exactly what I thought it was. The right time frame into open, squeezed, had that open pop, and failed. This was a little bit more tricky than usual because it popped up, failed, came down, came right down, and then all got bought up, but squeezed it right back up to that 2.5. So that was a little nerve-wracking when it went back up to 2.5. And then it held for a longer period of time than I would have thought. But at the end of the day, it didn't break trend, didn't do anything. Saw it was heavy here, added here when I identified that I thought it was ready to break, and sure enough, did snap. Added on the way down, added here, risking 2 or VWAP reclaim. And from there, I said, once the shenanigans are done, once it's over with, it's going back to $1 where it belongs. Fundamentally, that was the news. This is bankruptcy. This is restructuring of debt. And so I expected it to go back towards 110s, 120s, and depending on how much they let it fade. It was also Friday, squeezing out the shorts. So the way I handled this though was once I got in from all these ads, once it started to base here. So there was some action right here. It failed a level. Well, it perked, and then it stuffed, and then it failed the level. But then, interestingly enough, it didn't fade, and it wasn't heavy. It perked again, and then ramped back up over the stuff level, and I was like, whoa. So I actually covered on the wash. So I was all covered 170s from 2s, just to see what the heck was going on. I wasn't sure if they were going to ramp it back up over VWAP. So I got out because it literally was a very strange movement here. And I don't want to say I developed a long bias because I really wanted to short it, but what happened was it just, for literally 10:15 to here over an hour, it was just doing like I thought it was going to go, a few times, and it just failed. And then right here, it was literally just no buying, no buying, no buying. And I thought, oh, maybe they'll squeeze it up. But then I thought about 1,000 times I've wanted a stock there, and let price action. There's never once did price action say that you're wrong. So re-shorted before, saw this happening, shorted into the candle, added here 162 versus reclaim with a 1.7, and let it fade down right into 137, I believe is where I covered. 130, yeah, so didn't quite get the low, but that was pretty darn close. And then re-short 159, 160. But then I thought, or I was hoping that there would be an immediately crackdown 120s after hours, but then they held it up after hours and didn't let us do anything. So yeah, anyways, we'll see what happens on Monday, but that is how I traded DPW XTNT. That is how I made my calls on the stocks to the cent about their tops, where they were going, and just what I thought about them in general. So both the news, restructuring debt worth $1, and DPW worth nothing, paid back to 0. So this is also a hot sector, prior runner, so I'm not surprised it did some big shenanigans. Exactly, I want to note as well, the exactly same fade this week as SLDB. SLDB came down from its huge run here, held up, so huge halter into the open, held up over VWAP, failed, slow consolidation, and failed. This is what I thought XTNT would do, but it's interesting how these patterns repeat themselves if they're the same people trading the same stocks during the week. Sometimes we see these patterns repeat, and that's exactly what happened with SLDB, and one day later XTNT. So hope this video helps, and yeah, hopefully you learned something from it, both technical fundamentals and price action, and how to short and deal with these junk runners. So we'll see you guys next time.